Well, it has been almost a year. You would think for a small channel, not uploading for a year would simply mean this endeavor was dead. But that is not the case. This video was simply made at the speed of life. My life since I last uploaded has quite frankly been shaken around a bit like a snow globe. But that has afforded me experiences and insights that are only possible when you find yourself teleported to a new world. I guess all of that advice about traveling to new places to experience new cultures and get fresh perspective makes a little more sense now. Now, today I don't want to simply sit around and orate about my life, though I will give you a little context. Instead, I would love to offer the opportunity to share my learnings and insights such that you yourself do not have to have your life ripped asunder for the opportunity of perspective. I recently found myself at the end of a near decade-long stint at big tech companies, constantly inundated by the latest of technologies being rushed out the door as quickly as possible. I became so used to the never-ending rush to keep up and keep ahead with technology that it just became a base assumption that this is how the world worked now. Now you would think someone who has a video titled, "Are You Working Hard for Nothing?" would have mastered the ability to work in a never-ending deluge of madness. And while my philosophies absolutely allowed me to stay afloat, to prioritize and make sure things got done, there was a more fundamental question I had never stopped and asked. Did life have to be this way? And I mean, technology certainly keeps pumping out new marvels to astound us with. I mean, today you can put a few words into a computer and get whatever this is. Yeah, I mean, focusing on the dazzling parade of tricks, it's easy to feel like life is rushing by us onwards to advancements that are going to leave us behind. And that's how I was starting to feel before my career pause unexpectedly afforded me the opportunity to slow down and see the world outside of the technosphere. As I started spending less time at work and more time in the world, I started to notice that people are using much older phones and technology than I had expected. Shopping at the grocery store and seeing the number of people pulling out phones that would, in my previous normal day-to-day life, be considered decrepit. This shower valve exploded, and I had to fix it. I used a YouTube tutorial that was like 8 years old. Every bit and bob I used to fix it, the technology behind it was older than my grandparents. From pumping gas to basic house maintenance, the more I looked around, the more I realized just how old the actual important underlying mechanisms of day-to-day life are. Ancient by modern standards. It's not that there's not a shiny technological paint over it. I mean, you can get this lawnmower with all sorts of bells and whistles if you really want to, but the actual gears, the actual mechanisms that matter and do the important work have not changed greatly in a long time. And why is it that these physical mechanisms that actually run the world have moved so slowly? Well, it's because the physical world does not move very fast. Take this lawn, for example. Rewind to when I stepped away to take a career break, and this lawn was almost entirely dead. It took great time and care to get it back to a relatively nice look. And guess what? It just took a lot of tools and labor and a little bit of help from the internet to double check what I was doing to make it happen. No amount of in-app purchases or buying a new phone could have brought this grass to green any faster. It simply required slow, persistent application of age-old tools and technologies. If you're watching this, that means I put in lawn mowing B-roll. To get that B-roll and have the grass be tall enough for it to be visible with the mowing in an interesting way, I had to let it grow for 3 weeks. It took almost a month to produce a 10-second B-roll of some grass being mowed. Life and the speed of life is slow but persistent. For a spattering of reasons not relevant to the video at hand, my daughter has historically been behind on growth milestones. What is relevant is that this break from work has allowed me to spend dedicated time working with her. And boy, I don't know if you've worked with a kiddo before. Man, does it require a lot of repetition over a long period of time for results to show. They say repeating the same thing and expecting a different outcome is the definition of insanity. You know what they didn't say? Whomstever they are? Well, they didn't tell you how long you're supposed to wait and measure the results. You know how many times I had to do the same thing with my daughter day after day before anything changed? It's a lot. The worthwhile things, the hard things, the things that are going to meaningfully impact and develop your life or the life of a loved one, they're slow. They take time. Now look, I understand that concluding with the idea that the world's not actually changing, so don't worry about it, would be foolish. The world is changing. The problem is it's not going to change the way you think. Or at least if it was, you would be an overnight millionaire. In 1865, William Jevons published a piece of work called The Coal Problem. It was exploring how industrial England was on the brink of disaster because they were running out of coal. At the rate things were going, the society was going to have to start cutting back and choosing who was allowed to benefit from the technological marvels. And Jevons was trying to get ahead of it, writing about all the ways they could be prepared for it and make sure they as a nation were able to continue on, even if some people weren't able to experience the benefits of technological wonders. Now, in some ways, Jevons was correct. Coal production peaked in the early 1900s. What Jevons couldn't have expected was the parade of technologies that were on their way in the similar time period. Oil was getting pumped. It was overtaking coal. A whole new fossil energy source emerged. Jevons was correct. Change came to the energy industry and things were different because of it. But it was not the way that Jevons expected. You can't know for sure what change is coming. But you do know a few things. Your body, the vessel you will be taking through the changes, the bed you sleep on and rest as you manage your way through the changes, and the relationships you have, the people around you who will be coming through the changes with you. Take care of those things first, because they're real, they're physical, and they exist in this world where time and effort is critical for meaningful change. Despite how much technology speeds up new gizmos and gadgets, the speed of life can only go so fast. And if you have those three things sorted, congratulations, you are way ahead of your peers in most ways. Then you can find something you truly care about. The fact that Jevons was worried about the economic health of his nation and righting the coal problem was not a waste of effort. We need people out there who care about a topic deeply, thinking about it and working on it, even if they're wrong sometimes. But you have to remember, you're only one person, and real, meaningful change and impact will take time and effort. So once you get these things sorted, find one thing you really care about and you really want to make a difference in, and work at the speed of life to have that impact. I know this video has a lot of reflections pushed into a small space. It's bound to happen when you have a good long think over a year. But I hope, like myself, you can walk away with an appreciation for the speed of life, the things that matter. All of the tools in your toolbox for being productive and managing your time effectively, they all still matter. But they matter and do even more and go even farther when you have a holistic perspective about the world you're operating in, and aren't whisked away by the never-ending madness of worry and upgrades that others would have you concern yourself with. Who knows how long the speed of life will take to make another video on this channel, but I hope to see you there when it gets made. And until then, I hope it all goes well for you. Have a good one.